how to be an alpha Chad in your interview. I'm going to tell you how to get the confidence to get the job that you want. That's coming up real soon. So the first thing you want to do is prepare, and you want to research everything about the company that you can find on the internet, and I guess off the internet as well, word of mouth. Find out what the company stands for as well. You want to look at all the policies that they have online about the company, like what they stand for. You want to memorize them so you can use them in your interview. Also, if you know the interviewer's name, you can look them up online, maybe like LinkedIn or something like that, or just a quick Google search. Find out everything you can about them, what they like, their interests, their hobbies, their past experiences, and this can give you an idea of what kind of interviewer they are, just based on, I guess, what their LinkedIn has to say or something like that. And then you can use this to help angle your interview in the way you want it to go so that you get the job. So you just want to find out who they are as a person, really, and what kind of person they are. So after you've prepared thoroughly for the interview, you want to get to the interview very, very early. So how early are we talking here? Maybe like 15 minutes before the interview? At least 5 to 10 minutes just to be safe, because who knows what could happen. So this could allow for mistakes such as you getting lost if you're driving or walking there, or you ideally you should not get lost, because you probably should go there like beforehand, maybe like on a different day, just so you know the route and you know how to get there. Also, getting there early will make up for lost time if there's an accident, so that like there'll be a lot of traffic on the road due to the accident. So once you've arrived, you want to go to the front desk, walk up there very confidently, and talk to the secretary or whatever they are at the desk and say, "Hey, I'm here for the interview. Give me that job." And then they'll just give you the job there, and that's the end of the story. That's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. No kidding. So yeah, you'll tell them that like you're here for the interview, and hopefully they'll let the interviewer know. So they'll probably tell you, "Yeah, the interviewer will be right down." Or let me do that. "The interviewer will be right down this way." They have a very squeaky voice. They're still a kid. I don't know why the secretary is still a kid. But anyways, so they're going to say, "Yeah, you can take a seat. Right here, one of these chairs. In this, these rapids behind me." So yeah, you'll take a seat if you want to, or you could just stand up, because you don't want to shake hands with somebody when you're sitting down. And it'll be awkward, because when you're sitting down, the guy will be above you, so they'll have the high ground. You don't want anyone to have the high ground. Just kind of like in military as well. You don't want someone to have a high ground on you. They can shoot you or something. So yeah, you want to be standing up when you're ready for that handshake. And the handshake is the most important part of the job. If you give a weak handshake, you just lose. So you gotta give a really firm handshake. You might need to there's a way to practice this actually. So you get some newspaper, and every day for like a couple weeks, you grab the newspaper and you just squeeze it to prepare for this handshake. And this is what football players do as well. I mean, not for interviewers, for squeezing the ball, so they can squeeze the ball and not drop it or throw it hard or whatnot. So yeah, you prepare for this interviewer by, and that's another way to prepare, by squeezing newspaper. Or there's also tools you can use where you can squeeze it to practice your squeezing for the handshake. So if they don't offer to handshake with you initially, you got to stick your hand out there and be aggressive about it. You got to shake their hand. It's what you have to do. All right, if they reject the offer or don't notice your hand sticking out there ready for a handshake, don't pay any attention to it. You are the Alpha Chad interviewee, so you don't care. So you also have to look them in their eyes while they are shaking your hands. And not only then, but also when they're talking. And you don't want to be staring into their soul, you know? You don't want to be staring into their soul. You just want to be show that you're engaged and whatnot. So looking into the eyes will show you that you care about the job, and that you want the job, and that you're listening to what they say. So like I said, you don't want to stare for the whole time, and it's okay to look at other things. Kind of like when you're thinking, you're not looking at the same thing the whole time. You're sometimes "Oh, okay. Yeah, the sky is blue today. Nice. Yeah. It's sunny. Okay." You don't just look at one thing when you're thinking. Sometimes you can look at other things sometimes, but I guess hold for 5 to 10 seconds at one thing, and then you can look away. Okay? So one thing you don't want to do is you're not going to want to look down, because this will show that you are kind of like sad or you don't care about the job, and it'll show that you don't have much confidence if you're looking down like mopey. Oh, I'm so sad. I don't want a job. Give me a job. Why am I here? You don't want to do that. That's not how you be the Alpha Chad interviewer. So eventually in the interview, they're gonna get a question similar. If not, tell me about yourself. This is where you strike. This is like when the interviewer shows you their weakness. So just like an animal, like a lion chasing a zebra, this is when you pounce on the interviewer. Don't actually physically pounce on them. You physically pounce on the question verbally. So what you got to do is you just got to be truthful. You got to tell the truth. That's how you be Alpha Chad. That's the secret. You tell the truth about who you really are, and that you're actually a lion and you're the zebra. So it's gonna be hard to craft like a elevator pitch beforehand and then memorize it so you can prepare for this kind of question. So it's just best to just kind of like think of things beforehand, maybe not memorize them, about what you're going to answer for this kind of question. Just don't memorize. Memorizing will make you sound not genuine, and nobody likes a non-genuine person. It'll make you sound like you have something to hide, and that that they won't be able to trust you. Like if your potential job has a lot of security, they're not going to want to trust someone who doesn't sound like genuine and sounds like a robot. Like, hello, I am Alpha Chad, and I want to work at Alpha Chad Incorporated. Thank you. So you want to let the interview kind of be a conversation. If they are asking all the questions, you don't want that to happen, because interviewers will get bored. Because imagine what they're doing. They're interviewing dozens, thousands, hundreds of millions of people for this job, and they're gonna get bored after interviewing trillions of people for the job. So you gotta ask the questions. Be the Alpha Chad and ask the questions for the interviewer. The reason behind this is they're gonna ask the same questions for each person, for each candidate, and they're gonna get bored of that. So you want to think of responses that no one will ever have thought of in the history of ever to get the job on the interview. Because when there's quadrillions of people trying to get interviewed for this job, you have to think of history of ever on past, current, present, future, ever. That's how you'll get the job. So an example would be like, if they ask, what is your greatest weakness? You got to come up with a spicy answer to that. Like, hello, my greatest weakness is I am a perfectionist. Thank you. Sorry, that was cliche. That was a cliche answer. So you don't want to say that you're a perfectionist. That's what like everyone says to that question of what's your greatest weakness. It's better to say something like, I am too much of an Alpha Chad, so everyone else is jealous of me. That's my weakness. So don't actually say that. So if the interviewer says that the interview is on a time constraint, you have a couple options here. You can either talk a lot for the individual questions, so they get to ask less questions, and you could potentially perfect your answers to the first couple questions, which could be a good idea. Or you could try to be really abrupt and kind of be concise and unique with all the questions, so that you can answer more of his questions. It really depends on the interviewer in that one, so it's hard to say and which one will give you more Alpha Chadness. But one key thing is, if it's time constrained, don't ramble on, because they'll notice the rambling on. They'll think, this guy's not an Alpha Chad, he's rambling. Alpha Chads don't ramble. So one final thing is that even if the whole interview was a mistake and you criticized them the whole time, you told them they were ugly, and it was terrible. If all that happened, key thing you want to do is you want to ask a question to them to show that you are the real Alpha Chad. So they can be questions about the job, the company, or the interviewer. As long as you ask a question, it'll go good for you. So some example questions would be, what is the work-life balance of the company? What do they like about the company? Where do you think the company is going to be in a couple years or something? Some questions like that. Show you're interested about the company, and yeah, as long as you're interested, you should get the job, and as long as you're alpha chat as well. And then when it's over, don't thank them at the end. Thanking them shows that you're weaker than them. You don't want to thank them. They'll thank you. Thank you for coming to interview with us today. That's what they're gonna say. All right, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Like, favorite, subscribe if you liked it or whatnot. See ya.